Hello everyone, nice to meet you. My name is Wu Zhenyuan. My colleagues call me Kimi. I was working in Yaku in Taiwan, and now I'm working in Line in the Tokyo office. I heard that someone come from Taiwan. Is there anyone here come from Taiwan? Oh, nice to meet you. Thank you. 今回の IOSDC は初めてです。参加するきっかけはやっぱり早稲田大学です。自分は早稲田大学出身ではなく大学の隣に住んでいるからです。As you can see, my Japanese is not very good, so the following I will talk in English. Imagine you're working with an app that released worldwide, and you have colleagues in many offices, like in Japan, Taiwan, USA. The following, I want to introduce some cases that happened to my past experience, and I want to talk about what kind of problems you may encounter. The first one is a requirement case. For your app users, they may have many different preferences on data, layout, or even the view flows. There's many ways to understand user preference. For example, you can do some user sampling to do user research, or you can do A/B testing to acquire more data. For example, if this is your user data preference in the Japan market, 80% of users prefer Type A UI, then what would you do? It's very simple, right? We will choose Type B. No, we will choose Type A because many people likes it. Yeah, I agree. But if you look into different markets, like in Taiwan, there's about 60% like A. In Korea, there's about 40%. But in USA, there's only 10% of users they prefer Type A. In this case, what would you going to do? There's a saying in Japanese, お客様は神様です. That means we want to try to meet our users' expectation. So in this case, you can provide default layout and allow the user to do some customization. As a user, I really love it. But as an engineer, you have to know if you provide many customization, it can make your code more complicated, and you will make your testing more complicated. Another solution, maybe you can provide a different layout for different countries. Well, it's also a good solution, but still, it raises the complexity of your implementation and your testing. Actually, the reality is more complicated. If we look into other user metrics, for example, at this graph, it shows the income per user with their UI preference. In Japan and Taiwan, the users who generate more income for your company, they prefer the Type B. But in Korea and USA, the user who generate more income for your company, they prefer Type A. In another word, to conclude this graph, users who generate more income for your company falls into the small part of UI preference. Well, it's very complicated, so what should we do? Actually, you can provide different layouts or different features for different user targets. There's a messenger in China called QQ. Maybe you don't know or you know, but it provides several different versions of apps. For example, it provides a normal version and live version, also an international and work version. So each app provides different features for different target users so that it could keep their business logic and their implementation code more cleaner. Or if you are very confident of what you provide is the best thing, or you want to train your users, you can just provide one layout for all your users. In this way, your business logic and your code is so simple. But actually, there's no one best solution for all cases. So you just have to know every decision you make at this requirement step will affect your future implementation, testing, and maintenance. So you should try to let your planner know, is there concerns in your technical, and is there some boundary, so to make the planner make a best decision. Another case is about coding style. We all know uniform coding style is very important. Usually we will use some documentation to write, to describe the coding style. And when we're doing the PR reviews, we will confirm our colleagues' code is following our style. But when you have many colleagues and your colleagues is in different office, the office might even have time difference. In this case, usually each team will do its own review. We know humans are not machines, and it's very time wasting to comment out all the style mistake on the PR. So actually, you can use some third library like Kimi that can help you automatically to correct the style mistake. And another suggestion is you can make a specific group of people to do a final code review before each app release. The final suggestion is do not merge the code before it passes the style check, because things only get worse when you leave it for tomorrow. I usually talk to my friends, I will start diet tomorrow before I finish this hamburger. So that's why it makes me feel very heavy. Another case is John, one of my colleagues, his name is John. One day he found his mobile in his app. Although the app is not within his responsibility, but he thinks it's very simple. So he just spent 20 minutes and fixed the bugs. So John is a very good employee, is he? Actually, he makes some mistakes. For example, he didn't make any communication. So maybe his colleague who is responsible for a feature is also trying to fix the bug at the same time, but end up he got a code conflict. And also, John didn't make a record on the project tracking tools. So his QA didn't know there's a bug, and the QA didn't test the fix. So at the end, the fix might have some side effects and make the app crash. So any small mistake you make may snowball into a very big loss. Another day, also is John. He is refactoring some Snapper code that has some dependency with some region-limited features, which is developed by the US engineers. He asked me, Kimi, do you know what's this feature? How could we use it? Oh, sorry, I don't know. And he asked other people in the office, no one knows it. Then he thinks, well, I can just ask the American colleagues. So he sent a message, but he found out that there's time difference, so he had to wait another day for the answer. So what makes John run into such a situation? Probably there's no documentation. Or there is documentation, but John cannot find it. So when you're writing the documentation, it's very important to write documentation, but what's more, you should make it very readable and also searchable by other people. In summary, actually each step in the software engineering process, like specification, design implementation, and testing, they are tightly related and affecting each step. For example, what you decide for a requirement, and they will affect how you do the implementation and how you do the testing. And in the intersection part is the maintenance. Maintenance including maintaining the requirement document, implementation code, and testing code. Also includes extend the features or modify the features of your app. In the central, most important part is the communication. Communication happens everywhere during your working. Already there's a lot of ways and tools to help you do communication. Code comments, PR reviews also is a kind of communication. You can use some project management tools or instant messaging tools like Line. But only have those tools is not enough. You have to set up some standard rules and process. For example, if you are writing document in your style, another one writing in this style, the document is not readable by other people, not just like your phone. We have to have a unique style of documentation. Also, you can provide some, for example, you can provide some template format for documentation to make it readable and searchable. Besides, communication is not only with your colleagues next to you. When you're writing the documentation, you have to think, I have to communicate with future engineers. And also communication includes with planners, QAs, anyone in your company on the project. At the end, I want to say, no matter what kind of projects, what kind of companies you are working on, communication is a very important thing you should take care of. Although communication takes time, but you will save you more. I'm Kimi. Thank you.
キミさんありがとうございました。では Q&A に入りたいと思います。コメントや質問のある方は、ぜひ挙手をお願いします。ありがとうございます。マイクいきますので。
Hi, thank you. In the global remote team, there's the time zone difference problem probably. So, do you have any ideas to solve the time zone difference problem?
What kind of problems, like coding?
Like if we like to meet the face-to-face communication, but there's no good time. Very good, very early morning or so.
Okay.
Or what best time to make the meetings in the Europe, Asia, America?
Okay. The first way is if your company is rich, they can allow them to business travel to your office so you can face-to-face communication. But the other way I know is usually those kind of company will hire a team. They work at night, so they don't have the time difference in this environment.
はい、マイクをお持ちします。
Thank you. Interesting talk. So my question is, do you have in your company? Do you have each project manager in your each country or one project manager in the world?
Sorry, I cannot answer this question. It's related to the company structure. It's kind of private. I'm not sure I can tell you.
I see. Okay, thank you.
マイク参りますので、お願いします。
But before, for my previous company, yes, they have different managers in different offices.
It sounds like you need a lot of communication if you have an international team. So do you prefer to put all your engineers in the same country, or if there is any benefit to having an international team?
Okay. If the company could put all the engineers in one office, that would be the best. And also the planner, QA, everyone related to the project. But in fact, it's not so easy to make it because sometimes some features is region related. For example, if the feature is related, has some region related like in US, then as a Chinese, my cultural background, maybe I cannot understand the feature. And if you want me to implement the feature, then I must have some more planners to talk to me. And if you want to hire if you want in Japan, you want to hire a planner from American, they will be much expensive, I think. So from the basis of companies, their mindset, they have to, how do I say it? The budget is a very important thing that they will consider for the company. If they are very rich, I believe putting everyone together is the best solution.
はい、ありがとうございました。もう1問ぐらい質問を受け付けられますが。すいません、じゃあ、前の方の左前の方に、はい、こちらの。
Thank you for talking, and I am from China, so maybe I think we can talk to each other in Chinese later. But the question I'm asking now is that actually a very recent case that happened in my company is that we made an application that works in the global world, but in every country there is a slightly very small differences. So we make new versions for every country, but the goal is to make the applications for all the world in the same code base. But since there are very different, some differences for the countries, we first made the new version for Japan, then a new version for another country, then a new version for another country, and things like that. And well, that worked fine at the first time, but then there we had to make a new version for a country which is had a very old code base, but that code was it was built in with Xcode 8, which is already you cannot send the applications built with Xcode 8 to App Store. So it was very small change, but we had to face the very big problem since we have to do a very wide code test. So what I want to ask is, first, do you have ever had the same problem? And two, how if you have, do you have any suggestions for this kind of case? Thank you.
So my first question is, why don't you upgrade the version of Xcode?
Well, of course we have to do that, but it will take very long time to do all the tests, for all the countries, and there are some say we have feature A for Japan, we have feature B for say in China, and feature C for America. But we don't have time to do all these features at the same time. So we had to, for example, we have to do first the feature A. So we have to do a feature A for a new version for the app. So then we release it. Then we do the feature B for China. Then we release it in China. Things like that. So we cannot do the version up for all the countries at the same time. That was the problem.
Okay, so you mean when you do A market, B market, and then when you do the C market,
Yeah.
the first A market, the code is out of date, right? Is that your problem?
Maybe the C was out of date.
C, sorry. I'm not very sure your problem.
Okay, maybe I can ask you later. Thank you.
Sorry.
はい、ありがとうございました。ちょっとお時間になりましたので、これで QA 終了させていただきます。で、この後の休憩時間に1階のスポンサー部